Waiting. Yeah, welcome. Welcome, Madam Jumi. If you can hear me, type on the comments page, let's say, so that I'll be very sure that you can hear me. Can you hear me? Yeah, two. Hear me, kindly type on that page so that I'll be very sure that you can hear me. Type on the comment. Okay. Be waiting. Yeah, thank you very much, Z. Are you still very much here with me? Because I can't see you again. It's not flagging you. Hear me? Are you here? Mm? Be able to see you on on my screen and hear me. Just say hi. Thanks, Z. I see your hands there. I know there is one other person. We go on to share the tips that we have here. Hello. Okay. Who can hear me? Oh? I have 3 people. Yeah. All right. Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Okay, so let's go. Are you happy to show on the screen like this, or would you like to go back to the backstage? Or you can take off your video, whichever way you prefer it. You can take off your video. So let's go. Good evening, everybody. Welcome if you are joining us for the very first time. This is Unified IELTS Academy. We've been in the journey for the past 4 years. This month of May marks the 4th year we started the journey, and it's been a beautiful journey. There have been lots of challenges along the way. There have been lots of success stories, like success stories that are beyond our reasonings, that we look at and we just feel like, oh, little us, God is actually using us to make people laugh. We've had situations where people were running against time and they had to join us for just 2 weeks and just the group classes, and they passed their test brilliantly. we've had situations where people have written IELTS 4 or 5 times in some other places, and we were posted to them, and they joined us. And the story thereafter was that of all success, all wins. So it's been God, it's been God, it's been God all the way since 2020 till this very moment. So it all started sometimes around March or thereabouts, February, March. And COVID stepped in somehow late 2019 or thereabouts. And then people were struggling to to write OET. So that was how the whole story started. I was invited to have a chat with some people who were being trained for OET, and I canceled them that these examinations, especially when they couldn't write again. COVID had come, and then they were not doing face-to-face examinations again. But IELTS was still doing, BC was doing, because they will be able to do their speaking, which could make them be extremely facing, could make them be extremely people facing. They were doing that on Skype. So it made it easier for them to just kept on with the examinations and all that. So that was how we got it started with Dr. Agbele Oba. And then we thank God. Most of the other people you will see as our facilitators were once like you, trained with us, and they did brilliantly. Like, they just took their trainings, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, they passed their test, and they passed brilliantly, like passing with band 8, 8.5, brilliant reports, brilliant results. And so we thought they should be part of our additions. So we really sort of started with myself, Dr. Agbele Oba, and God then started adding people of like minds to us. And we had Go Getter, that's the guy with Pathfinder on YouTube. We have Nosadekola, who is the coach, and all those people, and a whole lot of others that you meet in class. We have Lady Gold, we have Shade, we have Caleb. That's the guy we tagged. Who is there that can still hear me? Because I'm not sure whether it's because ACB went backstage. If you can hear me again, please let me know, because that's just the crux of coming up together, so that we can hear and make. Can you hear me, sis?
Yes, I can.
Thank you very much. So I don't know whether it was because he went backstage that he can't hear me again. I don't know what's wrong. He said he can't hear me, and I don't see any reason why he shouldn't be able to. So that was how we got started, and it's been brilliant journey all along. So this evening, I will run us through some things. Those who've been in class with us, maybe possibly have had contact with some of the things I would say, but then not everything that I will say here had been mentioned in the classes. So International English Language Testing System, that's the name, shortened to IELTS. It is an English examination test that helps maybe an employer or a country that wishes some people migrate to them, or an academic body that proves to them that this person is able to communicate in English. It's been tested, it's been proven to be a rich and acceptable means of weighing the English capability, the English communication capability of individuals. So it is not just run up and pick it up test. It's an examination that had been subjected to studies, research works, and all those things, and it's been found potent over time. So it's not anything strange. And it is not an undoable examination, because I know it used to scare some people. I believe the way it's been painted to people sort of injects fears into people's hearts about this very examination. But believe me, it is not an examination that none of us cannot handle. It is a test that everyone who have been successful in passing their WAEC in Nigeria or NECO, like if they've done the examinations by themselves and just had C6 in English, they should be able to pass this test at least with band 7. If they've continued with the strength with which they pass their English test at WAEC level and had C6, except if they, for whatever reasons, relented on their goals on pushing up their English, then it might become a difficult task. If not, if anyone have actually continued that way till now, building on the English they possess, then adding this and that to it, subtracting, removing those things that they should remove, then none of us should be afraid of this test, because it is actually that fear over time we've discovered that it is that fear that initially fail people before they go in for their test. Once you've eliminated the fears, the anxiety, then you are able to listen, you are able to understand what is being said, you will be able to ask appropriate questions, you will be well prepared to face whatsoever. You would have practiced. We definitely will release practice materials to you, and we will go with you into the speaking laboratories. We're going to do all those things free of charge in this very month. We don't normally do them free of charge since May 2020. But this particular year, we do everything free of charge and assess your essays free of charge in this particular month. So please pay all close attention to everything we'll be saying here. And we've also observed that another reason that people do fail IELTS is the strategies. Most people don't understand strategies, maybe because of where most of us are coming from. It's a place where we just buy we buy this fan now, and oh, it is fan, then we just look at it, we just unwrap it and set it and start using it without reading the the instructions or information that has been provided. It doesn't work like that in most situations. So IELTS is an examination of strategies, the strategies you will use to pass each of the sections and subsections of the questions you will come in contact with have been laid down. If you know those strategies and you have your English at the tip of your fingers, then you should be able to beat this test hands down. Is it hands down or hands up? Whichever way, you should be able to beat them such that they will be very, very submissive. That is how easy it should be with everyone here. So note, you have to quench your anxiety, quench your fears. You have to go with strategies. Another thing is that IELTS is a test of time or timing, whichever way you want me to put it. If you are not passionate about your time, if you do not respect your time, IELTS will teach you that you need to pay close attention to timing. And I pray none of us will be taught that way, because such teachings is like you come back and pick it up again. And we all know that the tune the IELTS fee is beating to for everyone to dance to is not a very easy or pleasant one in terms of financial implications. So we have to pay close attention. One of the things we used to tell people, especially with timing, is there is this possibility of thinking that I was in the class with this person in March, and now here am I again in April, in May. Please do understand that your our upbringings, nature and nurture. Many of us that are nurses, we actually know that the what we call we do discuss about nature and nurture in nursing profession. There is vast difference among many of us where we came from. Like me, that I came from village, and I was raised by parents that were not professors or were not staunch academia, then the way I possibly would understand English is different from someone who was given birth to within the premises of the university. The dad is a professor, the mom is a doctor of linguistics or whatsoever, and then they attended international schools where all of them were speaking through their nostrils. The, the way they will do things, the way they will catch up with what's been written down they are reading, it's quite different. Even our kiddies that are in here, there were words were saying that I would just wonder how come. Where did you hear that from? Where did you learn that from? Like my one of my toddlers was asking the other one when she saw that she was putting on this kitchen dress. I was asking, "Are you a chef?" Then in my head, I reasoned, at what stage did I even know who a chef should be? Because that's the environment they are growing up in, then it's quite different. And the way they would twist their tongue and say things, even all these our children too, that we are all racing back at home in Nigeria, that are attending all those private schools. You know, the way they speak is quite different from ours, and their pronunciation is different from ours. So if you see someone in class in March, and the person had gone out to write their examinations and passed, but you are still struggling with how to pick true, false, not given, yes, no, not given, and you want to go and rush into the examination, will you please pedal it down? You can talk with us. We used to give people considerations. If you've booked with us, if you think you haven't perfect your skill in some areas, we are always very much ready to go the whole length with you. You join the next class, sometimes that we give you freely. Sometimes, if for whatever reason we think you should pay, we give you very, very bearable cost, very variable amount to pay, so that it will be easy for you to be back in that class and brush up those areas that you really need to brush up and be fit for your test. We do tell our candidates in those days that it is better it is better for you to stay one extra month in your training classes than to go and write that test and fail and come back again. Because once people fail, especially if they are failing again and again, then the fear comes up more. The anxiety comes up more. Then the ability or big possibility of doubting yourself, that and the frustration, the financial burden, all these things we want people to avoid as much as possible. So if you've trained with us, if you are struggling, in fact, there have been occasions that people that never even trained with us, when they informed us or they made us understand what their stories have been, maybe someone who's been writing this test 3, 4, 5 times, we don't normally mind that. Okay, you want to train with us, you want us to train you free of charge, but you paid IELTS, you paid IDP, you paid British Council. We will never blame you that way. There have been occasions like that we still brought them in and still nurtured them and ensure they pass. Because when they pass, it makes life easier for us. It makes us glad. It makes us happy, and we feel proud. We appreciate God for what He's using us to do. I'm very, very sure, and I'm bold to say that God has used UIA to make so many people happy within these last 4 years. And I just wish and pray and encourage that you all will be part of the people that will be glad through your identification with Unified IELTS. So your timing is different, and timing is important in IELTS. All the sections in IELTS are timed. Your writing task 1 is 20 minutes, your writing task 2 is 40 minutes. Timed. You can't go a second beyond that. You can't go beyond those times when you are in your examination hall. Your reading is timed 60 minutes. You can't go beyond that time. Once it is 60 minutes, you have to drop, and they will give you counsel. Spend so minutes on part 1, on section 1, section 2, section 3, or section ABC, or what. Spend so time. You have to, as much as lies within you, strive to stay within the confines of the time you've been asked to spend there. If you don't, you're going to smell it when you get to the next section. Like if it is reading, like if Pate they say you should spend 20 minutes here, and you now spend 25 minutes there, you will be left with 35 minutes to battle with B and C, which in some situations could be tougher than the A that you spend 25 minutes on. So once you think, you see yourself that, okay, this 20 minutes is elapsing and you still can't push through, just leave it and dash to the next section. You might find out that that next section could be easier for you to even quickly rush through, and you come back to fix that one. These people have done their research works on all the sections they are giving you in their test. And it is very, very, very important for you, for everyone, as the air we breathe in, to obey the instructions on that paper test. On the instructions, obeying the instructions is when you will see something like in reading or writing, and they will say in one word, in not more than one word and two letters or two whatsoever they used to say it, that you should present your answer that way. If you now go and use three words, you will miss that answer. It is as in, instruction is sacrosanct when it comes to IELTS. There's nothing you want to do without obeying their instruction that is going to work. And in your listening, you are going there to just spend 40 minutes. If you now feel, oh, that 40 minutes, there, you are still battling with question 32, 30, the number 32 on your question paper, and you don't move forward to jump in to meet them in the front, then it's going to be very, very tough, because you will like have 8 questions that you are not attending to for whatever reasons. And if when you are doing your writing task one, you've decided to spend 30 minutes on on academic writing task one, thinking that maybe everything is going to is 60 minutes. I can just divide 30 minutes for each of them. It's not going to work, because that task two is the double score for your task one. So if you now spend 30 minutes on the one you are going to, the person is going to be scored maybe 20, and leave the one the person will be scored 40 untouched or barely touched. Is not going to be helpful. So it's very, very important we stay with instruction. Very, very important. Another thing that I would do like to tell people is, when you have your papers for listening and reading, you have just a sheet of paper for reading and listening. Ensure you check that you are writing on that space on the page provided for listening. You are not writing the answers for listening on the page provided for reading. If anyone is doing that or had done that, then the person possibly would not get very good score. It is very essential you check that. If you check that, you will know that, okay, at some point you will need to flip to that other side to put in your reading answers. So back to what IELTS is all about. Um, you will agree with me that this test it has 4 parts that you have to work on. You work on the speaking, you work on the reading, you work on listening, and you work on writing. You have those 4 areas, and the test could be academic module, academic training, or it could be um general training. When it is academic training, it is for possibly professional registration, or for people to come to school. You should please make efforts to know what your the authority you want to write that examinations for, what they require of you. What band scores do they require of you? What profession are you using it for? What purpose are you writing your test for? When you know that, then it helps you to prepare very well and face your target. And may I advise that Don't just limit yourself to that target, because you never know whether while you are in that country, you will get something bigger and you will need bigger results. And your result is still active, not more than 2 years. Some countries take it for 3 years. If you've strived hard and you really got good reports, you may not need to go and be preparing for another test. Even in this UK, that test is not easy. The money for the test is not easy to come by. So in the developed world, it's not like the money is easy to come by to write the test, and even the time. And besides, it's not like in our country where most of us could be living in Lagos, Ibadan, Akure, Oshogbo, Ilorin, where you have the centers, Abuja. Here, you may need to travel far, 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 far before you get centers. And then you must not come late. Then you will be booking hotel. You'll be missing work for that day that you want to write that test. So if you've actually worked very hard enough and had very good reports that could possibly meet that need at that point in time, then you just unpick it. So for like IELTS, for some countries, it will expire in 2 years. I'm sure for Australia and New Zealand, migration, except for registration with professional bodies, it expires in 3 years. So if you have it there, maybe you are possibly in the UK and you just find out that your profession is thriving better, and you think you want to move to that part of the world, you just unpick your report and just move. We have people like that. One of my girls, that she had 8.5 in reading, 8 in listening, 7.5 in speaking, and 7 in writing, or 7.5 in writing, 7 in speaking, something like that. There was a time now she wanted to leave. She wanted to leave the UK, and she was now asking, "Mama, please, I want to write IELTS." But I remember her story very well. I remember her story. I really remember her story. It was such a very touching story that when she finished her IELTS, and she just came to me, "Mama, please, I don't know what to do. Can you just help me? What can you do to help me? My husband is not being paid, and this nonsense work. Mimiko has been owing us this, and that." Was it Mimiko or Aketi? I think it was Aketi, because our report wasn't up to 3 years anyway. And so she complained. Oh, I said, okay, me, I don't even know how to give people fish. I allow people to fish. Will you be able to take people reading? Because she had 8.5 in reading, and she was with us for just a month. And so when she wanted to move to Australia and she was telling me she wanted to write again, I said, but that her report that was like she had 6.5 in writing, and she would actually need 7 in that module for Australia. I said, that report is very much in my head. Like, I virtually know everyone that is in my class, except if you are not active with me. If you are active, I definitely know you. Sometimes I do bounce into people's I do badge into your private chats and say, "Hello, how are you doing? Are you finding it tough?" If you allow me to, then we are that close to virtually all our candidates, except anyone who do not want to be close to us. So she just like said, "Go and bring it." She brought it and she said, "Mama, it's the truth or this." So it should be like that. You should be able to work hard enough, not just score that minimum point that you need. Because if you aim at the moon, if you are landing at all, if you not hit the moon, you end up amidst the stars. But if your target is anything below that, then the person might end up being on the floor. We don't want anyone among us on the floor. We want everyone in flying colors. So please, as much as it lies in you, if your target is 7, ensure that you are targeting the minimum of 7.5 or 8. That way it's doable. I've seen someone in our IELTS class that scored 8 in all the 4 modules. 8, 8, 8, 8. Listening, reading, speaking, and writing. She had band 8. No 8.5, no 7.5, 8, 8, 8, 8. That was the way that person had. Be able to identify your strengths. You should know your weaknesses. There are people who are very good with writing. In IELTS classes, I don't know whether it's like that with lawyers everywhere. I've discovered that most lawyers, their writing is it that's questionable? You see them with big score in speaking, you are there, right? That like that. So identify your strength, identify your weakness. Why am I saying this? When you do, when you are not doing this, May, sometimes when people are able to identify the areas where they are, because you know, one class, most person that are group in just the trainer to flex and in most of the time flex it, but flex it time to one bit more. What I do say, identify those areas where you have challenge. If you are doing it and to take 1-to-1 in the because is somebody here with me, please? Please type in the comment box if you can hear me, please. And someone hear me? Oh, Siri's here. Siri. Me, guys, please. Oh, how is that? Is this Sister Jumoke alone that can hear me? Okay. Thank you. Oh, thank you very much. So in that sense, you'll be able to, be able to just switch into that part of the classes for 1-to-1, and you will not need to pay for all the modules. It is very important you try to know. And besides, relate with the members of the class. There is a time we used to do vocabulary drills. These days, I don't know whether people are not so motivated. Our vocabulary drill is 5 a.m. in the morning. Like, that is what you will wake up to do after your prayers. I mean, between 6 and 6 a.m. Those things that people will now get to the examination and they will now be struggling with paraphrasing. Not unified IELTS classes. No, they have done enough vocabulary drill. If you are ready to work that way with you, then few get the research, the said you last year and no news. But people who participated in the news, your English will never remain because we will come with IELTS question, we'll be speaking, we'll be writing, and we will have those words that you paraphrase. We will paraphrase, and there is no way, there is no that the person will not remember two of those words that we used to rephrase. No way to that in. So if you want to work with what that is, let's do it together. Easy work for you. We don't want people to go and spend 230 something thousand to book British Council, come back again to book and use another 236 next time. That in some places, I'm sure that's 400,000. Some can still be. And there was a time we and it was not even up to the price of 180 now. To go and writing IELTS and be rewriting. There's no point. There's no point. British Council, IDP will use need to build horticultural garden for people to come and be doing tourism around that place. No point. They shouldn't come and tour. They've invested money in using what and be the flowers around there. We don't want that to happen to any one of us. So please, anything you hear from us, you hear from me, you hear from Sagbele Oba, you hear from Feyi, you hear from Dada, you hear from the other Dada, everyone, and you are here. Put them in your non-dominant names so that you're going to eat with it. Now, we have this test being controlled by British Council. Personally, I wrote British Council and people IGP and did very well. The only areas that I used to love is those days for used to be if you for Mark. So I and 16 I was then to get extra £1, 1.5 pound, 60. I wasn't easy like that with British Council, but British Council is always very quick to key when marked. Now, I should start remarking that I to leave the other do things tomorrow when we have the other then we won't be in the dark like this. So you can pick anyone, but as it is now, I believe cancels in Nigeria. If you are not going to be computer-based, as you know, you can write it either paper-based or computer-based. Paper-based, your report will be back within 13 days. When it is computer-based, within 5 working days, your report will be back. You can pick it up. But one thing I've noticed is when people are failing reading consistently, I've seen 3 or more people that have failed reading consistently in paper-based tests, and they've gone for computer-based tests. They were coming back with 7.58. None of them even came back with whatever the magic there, I do not know. But I've seen that repeatedly, and I don't know why. But one thing I know is when it is reading, some people find it very difficult to flipping the paper. You know, you flip and flip. Some people find the flip coordinate the flip. But when it question and your answer for that one pinned to your question. Your answers will be pinned, and you'll be your question will be pinned to the side. So it is easier for you to locate your answers when it is computer-based, especially for that. Maybe that is what is influencing the report. That is the only thing that would with build with paper-based. Otherwise, are not computer. If you are good with reason says struggle testing eventually at it. So you can't cope with those things. Meal go and book that paper-based jelly as much as because you want to bring back, pay more and get to rush to prepare for this. It's easier, like 15,000, other pay 2,000. So that is British Council. British Council, the exam is controlled by free boys, the Cambridge. You have been seeing Cambridge, those on the at the big part that would deal with the questioning and all that. And British Council, and the British Council is located in UK. The IDP is located in Australia. So both of them are doing this test, and they have been milking on don't match with us when it comes to speaking and writing. Leave their native accent, leave those ones. But when English, grammar, control, they don't have it like you. And it's quite unfortunate that these are the people we are paying a whole lot for, paying through arms, legs, to and prove that you are good and good that and so and there are lots of foundation materials there. We bring go deep with their line when you materials on YouTube that are not they used to bring. They are not questions. I don't know where they used to bring them from and mislead you. If there's a use your IELTS, she's a senior when it comes to IELTS training. She's a teacher of teachers, trainers. That was off YouTube for a study that work. You won't miss it if you go there, except there are some words they would say that maybe those of us who were from core villages might not understand that it would be easier if I'm talking to you like face to face is gone. For right to me, IHS Budi is very to passing. I studied is task one. I wrote two essays and I dumped it somewhere till the moment I was going to more like take this through. It well good, but here you are, even in who is a major problem is a troubles. Dr. Agbile Oba for us at IELTS, same village, parents of my faith, we actually same parent, like village life that you have big daddies and they will bring all of together. And I knew this. I was reading this book. I can't remember. Students Companion, back to back. My friend finished that book. Like, why came together? It was the time is to a British kingdom, and the message that came back to him published this article without. So if you have some British, they are saying his article should be published without corrections. You are in very good hands, and it's the one that will handle your writing structure. Task 2, it will handle that. Is the one that we conduct the speaking training if you do yourself. Oh, you can't miss anything. You can't miss anything. And it will teach you this. If you are in class, you don't have to struggle with anything. Your is a reflection, or your writing is a reflection of your speaking. So we are good to go. To and if we agree together on the WhatsApp group, we can be doing because today of information of English when you come to that place. That is that. And when it comes to this test, if you have this, you can in be it speaking, writing, and the only thing is that reading and really get so we that so you should if or you're speaking, writing kind of I've seen I've seen increase when I've personally seen reading and listening in, but I've read about and I've read about it again on it. last self situation for remark, please. If the exam were very sure the anywhere where we need to have your report and whatever you planned to type the law with on for name. So, and you know, there is one skill is someone they one of these first skills that you can only retest. You must book for that in a particular time and and when it is back, not have to result in your to use it. So they will merge reports into one report, and so they will merge your new results into one report. You have this report, which is, but that is if it is and the conditions there to make you fit at bear with me. Oh, okay. Oh, I'll do that with you. So that's about that. Then let me just touch base. Let me touch base quickly on yeah, on I said the other time that you will have to write. I mean, the your test and deal with them listening and speaking. Everybody same test written to who are taking general with different task one to what people are taking academic are to write. Who are taking general will write different reading and exam entirely to what the person who is taking academic test will be. General is academic just go and bring a story of what you've never had before, archaeology, and then they will put it there. And you that you are student, you don't even know anything. You are science, just go and bring one that you had in the United Kingdom. And they bring had before. And it's not like it's not like completely everything that was about it already. It's that tough. And so you have to depend on the strategies you've learned, skills you've learned, on your ability to control English. I mean, general could just be a birthday party. And you know, you reading God, you will be enjoying. And another thing I want to say before I move on, I remember this now. We used to tell people, don't be too carried away with something that is interesting in that you are, especially in listening, is if you miss question number 3 and you stay on that question, you are probably going to miss the questions. Once you miss what they were you have to shift and move to style to just put one answer there when maybe when you are reading within of the you've listened to or of the recordings audio you've listened. Otherwise, if you stay there before it before you know it, you are the jumping or saying something about you just move to God forbid that thing. So please, you miss anything. This just jump and pass, move to the other one. Don't let one point you down that you now miss 5 points. Because if it happens, then we know what can eventually happen. So please and please, when you are deal with them with strategy, ensure this allocated to you. When they say turn your paper, when they say move to section, so move. If you haven't finished that one, they will exactly that's difficult. I remember my reading the page 2 so interesting. That passage was so interesting that I read. I filled my answers. I went back to read again so I could enjoy it. Something, thank God for those been that day that said, oh, you are not just read for you are writing exam. Want to this exam if you finish I had a little child that was I think 6 months or very was it 5 or 6 months when I wrote my test. So I knew it was a no, I must. But that passage too, oh my goodness, was so so you have to be very careful because the mouth could be this even here where I'm working it's about one of UK's that 999 or 911 of US. Oh, we have 999 in the UK too. We have so it's just assess patients, triage them, then signpost them to appropriate. Could be to go to their GP, could be for ambulance to go and pick them, could be if it could be that we will say we will send us to them. Now, what you must do these people way. There was one 92 years was there and the she was married and they went to live in Africa. Africa, I step into if you studied so much on this because I people in Africa are now failored it, as in failored it. Okay, continue the one that should control you, and that is part one, task one. And you spend 22 minutes part task two writing, and quickly drop whatever you are doing and because it's control everything in IELTS. We teach all those strategies, those things, and that is that. You can call for your remark if you have taken going to salvage the situation for you. You can do one skill retest, and yeah. So listening, you will have four parts to listen to. You have one. One is quite easy. Today we hear about figures. There you may hear about dictations, because they may want to dictate a name of a particular something to you, so that you can get it better. And hearing conversations of two people, someone trying to school and say, I want you to please tell me how I can locate the school library or the school restaurant or the be a dialogue. I've jumped to listening. I'm teaching, I'm teaching introduction. You will need to listen to see that it's a dialogue with people, for between some people. And so you go I don't know what's going on with StreamYard tonight. Conversation part of that, or parts, I mean, part two. Sorry, I don't know. It kicked me. It kicked me out. Oh. So, before I moved on, I saw that someone said they did not got the differences between IDP and British Council. British Council is being controlled from the United Kingdom here, Britain. IDP is controlled from Australia. And there are three authorities that brought up IELTS: IDP, British Council, and Cambridge. So Cambridge, I said you can go with any question you see, any study materials you see on Cambridge. Then I mentioned you can try some YouTubers too. And the people I recommended were IELTS Liz, and I recommended IELTS Buddy or whatsoever for writing. Those guys are quite good. Liz is very, very good too with writing, speaking, and all that. I'm not too sure about our reading. I'm not too sure I give it too much to anyone on reading so much. But I think some people talk about Yakub Assad. I don't know. But we have all our guys here in the academy are quite superb too. So like Dr. Dada had 8.5 in reading, and the second Dada had 7.5 in reading. And yeah, people are quite good. Our listening tutor had 8.5 in listening, so it's quite good to go. And writing tutors are superb. So that's where you have Dr. Agbeloba and who. So IDP and British Council, I said those are who they are. The only soft spot I have for IDP is if people had dropped bands in writing, which is the one that is almost stressing. I think writing and reading are the ones that stress people the most for whatever reasons, I don't know. And writing especially, people still pass reading sometimes and they do not pass writing. Why writing is easy now for people is because most organizations dropped it to 6.5. In those days when it was still 7, it was tougher than reading for people to pass. And you see the majority that are saying, oh, we've cleared our result, are with 6.5, 6.5 in writing. That's how, and they will still have 7 or 7.5 in reading. That was how bad writing could be. But it's if you go with what we say, you'll be fine. So if someone dropped band in writing and they called for remark, IDP had softer spots for giving extra bands points to people and improving that point for them than British Council. That is writing. But then I said that British Council do give better reports during the assessment for speaking. So if someone have had 6.5 in speaking and call for remark in with British Council, there is every possibility that 6.5 in speaking will be increased to 7. But IDP too is very notorious for not increasing band score in speaking. But why it is easy for people now is because most people that would drop band usually drop band in writing and their speaking would be good. So they don't have troubles with IDP because in most situations, not in all, but in like 92% of situations, IDP will increase that writing points. But British, most situations, they don't. I've seen people who got it improved, but it's very, very, very small ratio compared to what IDP would do when it comes to writing. So why it is then easier for people to go with IDPs because most people don't fail speaking. You know, this speaking, we've been speaking it from when we were in our parents' utero. So it's most of us don't even know our languages. Some of us can't speak Yoruba, and we are very proud of it. That I don't understand how to speak Yoruba. And there are some Oyinbos that were sent to Nigeria to come and speak our language for us. And here we are. Some of us, I think in fact, these other 2 tribes, I give it to them. The Hausas, they will speak their language everywhere. The Igbos, they will speak their language. They will speak Yoruba, they will speak Hausa, they will speak Pidgin, they will still speak English. But we Yoruba gaga, we will say we don't understand our language, we can't speak our language. I'm not here to castigate anybody. I'm just saying what we don't do. So, or what we don't know. Oh yeah, that's why we came here. So that because yeah, that's why we are here. So that as we are doing this, it's being recorded directly to YouTube. You will have the recordings back. So don't stress yourself. You will have everything well recorded back. YouTube is recording it for us. StreamYard is recording it to YouTube. It's on YouTube as you are speaking. If you go on YouTube, you will find it there straight up. So there is nothing about. So that is that about IDP. And IDP is still cheaper. I think they were still taking 173 or between 173 and 176. While British Council has said no, they will be taking 200 and something thousand plus. So that is another thing you want to think about. The only thing in those days is that IDP is not well spread about like British Council. Maybe much better now. And there are some countries where we don't have IDP now. Like if you're in the UK, we don't have IDP. Yeah, okay. IELTS UKVI. That UKVI is UK visas and immigration. So if you want to come through migration pathway to the United Kingdom, UKVI, if you are not a professional. Before, in our days, even as professionals, if you've written ordinary IELTS and you still want to migrate, you will still need to write that UKVI or do ECTIS. In those days, they used to call it NARIC, like I did NARIC for myself. After passing British Council, I still had to pay for NARIC. So it is for migration purpose to the United Kingdom. But at some point, they change the instruction such that if your profession, if you are registered into your profession after you've written English test, then you can use that same English test to process your migration. So that's what you will submit to the immigration when you are making your submissions. That is just the difference. One is for migration, the other one is for professional registration. That standard IELTS could be IDP, could be British Council, is for professional registration. But then the immigration officer has now accepted it for those of us who are professionals, that once your professional bodies like NMC, GMC, they've accepted the reports you presented to them, then you can still use it during immigration. I think that was in late 2019. So when we still did ours in early 2019, we paid for 2 examinations, because then we used to believe that UKVI is much is tougher to pass than standard, but it's not. They are the same questions. I have one very brilliant friend that she wrote UKVI and she passed that test in that order. The order that the other lady passed her test through. 858757. That was the order she passed, and that was UKVI. It was just once that she wrote it, just prepare for like 3-4 weeks, and she went in and she wrote and she passed. Her writing was 8.5 then. So reading was 7. I could remember very, very well. I mean, writing was 7.5. Writing 8.5, reading 8, speaking 7.5, and the other one was 7. So that was the way she had it. So it does the same thing in structure, in the examination, in everything. But one is for immigration purposes, which is the UKVI. The standard one could be maybe a school needs you to come. And in that situation, UKVI, if you are coming to school and school needs you to write IELTS academic, then the the immigration will possibly accept that because your school had accepted it. And the UKVI could be general too. It could be academic too, whichever one. For those ones who were coming for carers and all those things, those times, like I'm not sure if there's any one of us who is still thinking that way. UKVI general is much more advisable that you take that. Why do we say you should take UKVI? It's because the structure is much easier. If it is academic, you think, oh, I want to be a academic, go and do it. Pass, present it, they will accept it for you. But why will you see something easier that you want to go and buy what is not so easy or not so palatable like that? There's no point. And in those days, that UKVI used to be much more expensive than the standard. Like I remember UKVI was 98,000 naira then, and the ordinary was 74 or 75,000 naira. The difference was that big then. To the person who asked the question, let me see again if there's any other question there. For nurses, which one is good? For nurses, you are okay with the standard test. Could be IDP, okay, with the standard test. It should be academic if you are coming to register as safe, and you are good to go. Version is it like just the no video, do you want me to take on? Please let make it clear. Yeah, bros, waiting you. Hello, bro. Life difficult. Brother, please.
Yes.
The network is not
Hello?
treating.
Hello? Hello? Hello?
I think it's not really brilliant, but if you're on the WhatsApp platform, I will respond. That about IDP and British Council. You only need to find for the pick 0.5 next 10 to write. Okay, you're taking C for writing now, and you have and have 6 in writing. Next one you are going to write within the next one, have 6.5 in that writing. The other 3 modules, none of them should drop 5. That bodies, I mean, other USA was and 6.5 overall. And Australia is 7 all the modules. You can to read. If you are clock, none of drop those 6 points. New Zealand seems to be the most, and you use 6.5 any of the modules of any free band 7, you are good to go. Canada needs 7 in all the modules until punishment over. Not bad. Their English test is like, but the club has 4 reports for Zealand board. So for those 4 results, 4 tests are written within a year, 12 months. None exceeds 12 months. You can club, and they don't have any limit. They don't have a minimum band score. They one have less than 6 in light, 2 clubbing. But for the reports, someone club one that they will still Zealand now doing for the a time. And if you are not on the YouTube, I mean, if you are not on WhatsApp, please come on the WhatsApp. Probably, if not with a stranger video, what it's maybe, and the weather is so really damp. But have yes, remember that my brother's name. You will have access to that. I was some the moment you continue just this for me near is any first. That's why some people see it as being the toughest, but the, with that 10 space, all of those sections are 10, 10, 10. 1, 2, 1 is 10, 2 is 10, 4 is 10. These other ones are dropped into subsections. Part 1 of that one in listening is conversation between 2 people. Part 2 could be 1 person speaking about one thing, discussing one thing. And part 3 of it could be 2 people discussing some academic works, maybe research work, a study they've engaged in, a trip they made about a particular study to visit an academic area, all those things. And part 4 will be like straight up history, talking some things straight, like narrating an event to you. If you are someone who had been all those grandmas and they used to tell us, and grandpas that used to tell us stories in those days, you will find part 4 very interesting in listening. That part 4 and part 1, you are almost able to get like that's 20. The moment you have 20, you are just five you need to, and then you have 30 and 7 already. And we do say if it's during your practice, such that when it gets to examination or scenario, you at least 30. That way. But if you are scoring, you are struggling, and don't book your test if you are not scoring 32 conveniently within the stipulated time for the examination. Like for reading, if you are taking reading test and you are scoring 334, come back to the of you going to, and you have convenient with this consistently cheat you if you are not scoring enough during your practice, because that practice you are not done that, you are still doing your own thing under examination condition. Practice your test. What do I mean? It's not like you are doing the test and the child is crying and you leave it, you pause the audio. Like you are doing listening now, you pause it, you go and attend to that child and come back to pick it up again. You are not practicing under examination condition, because during your examination, you will not now leave your test and go out to buy Google or go out to buy EPA. In fact, empty your bladder before you start that test, because if you go out, your does not will force you not to go out. Like if they are doing listening question 6 and you want to go and you now go to Wiwi, by the time you come back, God forbid, that is village people ask. They are now in question 25. How much? What will the person score? Then 25. They are now in 25. That's 15 plus 6. Assuming the person is even able to get the whole 15 and had gotten the whole 6, add it to, to 15 plus 6, that's 21. God forbid, though, then be village people start. So empty your bladder before you start your test. Empty your bladder. Pray with whatever way you know how to pray. Pray. It's an examination that requires a whole lot of prayers. Pray. Requires cooperation. You need people to cooperate with you, your friends that you are friending together, your spouse if you are married, your children if you have children. I've had a situation where it was one of my friend's kiddies that booked a test and said, "Mommy, go and write computer-based." And the reading that she was struggling with in writing, started in that computer-based. So, each of everyone around you, you need to, agreement is very, very important. It is an examination of an agreement. You have to agree with the instructions they've given you. You have to agree such that when you are in examination, your mind is not going back to the fight you left with your wife or your husband back at home over the money for fish that we want to buy to make okra soup tomorrow. You don't want that. mind should be at rest. Mind is at rest. You are able to focus very well. You remember what you've been taught. Things will keep streaming into your brain. In fact, the energy we have is because I know I'm doing this because of so, because of so, because of so. You get so much energy to do all those things. To fight with your spouse, and your brain is blocked, and the flashback of the fight, or if you've even boxed yourself, and the pepperish feeling of that place is you are still perceiving it during examination. That exam or the report being handed over to that person that time. So part three of that thing, part three is to be, that's the most difficult part. That part where you have about 3 people speaking. At some point I will be lost. I don't even know who is saying what. And please, there are places where put A, B, C, D. There are places where they will ask you to merge, like when we are crossing those ABCD alphabets, particular thing they've listed. There are places you do that. You have to study. There are places you will see map. When Feyi come around to pick this up, I'm sure you will enjoy her. She's very, very brilliant with listening. And besides being brilliant with listening, she will motivate you that you will know that if you enter the examination hall, when she's had 2 sections with you, you will clear it. She's such a good motivational person. She will so inject so much positivities into you that you will be very sure that you are here and success is sure. That is that. Writing academic, you are going to deal with map in writing academic task 1. If you are taking general task, you will deal with letters. These general guys, their exams are so enviable. But both of us will be writing the same thing, academic and general module guys. You are writing the same thing in task 2. Same times will be allotted to those questions for you. Task 1 is is graphs, pictures, diagrams for academic guys. You know, you guys are academicians, okay? So you should be able to flow well. The mistake some people make with that task 1 is because they've seen there is map. There is map, then their mind goes straight to biology. And since they hated biology in those days in school, the map, they are pissed off. They are not able to pick the information they need. And here is not map reading that you are doing. You are not considering point A, a flight to point B, a sky crow and crow flies in geography. No, you are not considering that. And you are not doing map reading of mathematics. That is not what you are doing, or geography. You are not considering the map, you are not considering the graph of statistics, bar graph, histogram, pie chart. That is not what you are there for. All you are there for is to interpret. And when you are interpreting, you just need 3 strategic points to note. What is the highest? What is the lowest? What is the one you can use to compare? Those are the things you need. Bear those at the back of your mind so that by the time Dr. Tunde is handling it, that's the senior Dr. Dada, you will flow well. So remove from your mind the weed of statistics academic task 1. That is why writing is difficult for people. Many people would have done very well in their IELTS writing academic task 1 and 2, but because of the fear, map, graph, pie chart, and I did not know pie chart when they were teaching us economics in those days. When we were doing further math, I was not listening to how they were bringing this together. Bearing, when we did mathematics, that is not what one of academic IELTS writing is about. It's not. It's just you listening. You having a look. Okay, last year, before Baba Emilokan took over, the price of petrol was 15 naira in the southwest. In south, it was 25 naira per liter. And in the southeast, it was 58 naira per liter. In the north, it was 75 naira per liter. And so when you want to describe this map that you are seeing, you will pick it is much more expensive in the northern part of Nigeria before Emiliokan took over in year 2023, and least expensive or at the cheapest rates in the south. You may now come to the middle and say, but averagely, the southwest was in between, or whatsoever you want to put. It will give you the languages you are going to use. That is what you have to do in that one. You are not going to be adding and subtracting and multiplying and dividing and using for looking for Pythagoras theorem to sort that out. That's not what you are there for. Just compare and say this, and you are not to draw conclusion. That graph was not put there by you, so you have no authority to draw conclusion. In task 1, you don't draw conclusion. In academic writing, you don't draw conclusion. You don't draw inference. You don't say because of this fuel are cheaper in south because they are the one that God has blessed with oil. That does not concern you. Or you are now want to say, okay, because the Hausa people are too far from the south, that is why, or they are always fighting with the south people. That is why the south has decided not to release oil to their state, and the oil is much more expensive. That does not concern you. You are not to draw any inference. You are not to draw any conclusion. Just write your 4 paragraphs. We say you go with 4 paragraphs in task 1. You write not less than 150 words. And in task 2, don't write less than 250 words. In fact, we do say you should not write more than 300 words, because the more you are writing, the more you are wasting time, the more you are prone to committing errors. And it is also like that in part 1. So your part 1, do your introduction, put in your first paragraph, your second paragraph, and then be good to go. And also in part 2, what's your introduction? What do you have there? What's your how do you paraphrase? Then put your thesis words there and go write paragraph 1, write paragraph 2, then draw your conclusion for task 2 in in writing. And that's the same thing the person who is doing general training will do. General training guys will always write letters in their task 1. Dr. Agbile Oba will take care of your task 1 in general modules. That is that. And then you come to your reading. So the order in examination will be listening, reading, and writing in most situations. But I've seen situations where they interchange reading for listening because the speaker was misbehaving. So prepare for anything in Nigeria. I know we have guys who are not Nigerians here, please. So I don't know what's operating in your country, but that is the order. And then you possibly would have written your speaking before the whole 3 modules, or in some situations after the 3 modules that you sit down to write with other colleagues. And we do encourage people write their answers in capitals. You can write either in all the 3 modules, listening, reading, writing. You can write them in capitals according to them. But here we do encourage people that you should try to write your listening in capitals, write your reading in capitals, especially if you struggle with your handwriting. Like me, my handwriting is not so brilliant. And sometimes I will write things I will not even be able to read what I've written. So it's that way, if I'm writing in capital, I would be able to read better. In fact, my friend once told me that his colleagues down under, they used to write all their nursing notes in capitals. It's acceptable. But for us, because we think there may be need to assess punctuation, and capital letter is one of the punctuation. So if you've written everything in capital, they may not be able to know which one you've punctuated, which maybe you don't even know how to punctuate or whatsoever. But some people are saying it's not like that. But what we do is write your listening and reading answers in capitals, and write your writing normally the way we used to write that. When you are starting a paragraph, you start with capital letter. When you are using proper noun, you use capital letters and all those things and all those things. In writing, instead of you indenting your paragraph, we encourage that you leave a space between paragraphs. So once you are done with paragraph 1, you know what we do is indent. Like you leave small space and you now start the next paragraph. Don't do that in IELTS. Leave a single line in between paragraphs. That way it is distinct. Your examiner will be able to see what you are presenting with so much ease. You will need to know what they measure in your writing, what they measure are for, and they will divide your point, your score, into 4 places: 25%, 25%, 25%, 25%, to make 100%. So you will deal with task achievement. Are you able to achieve the task that has been put before you? If they say that female genital mutilation has become a matter of great concern in Uganda. Sorry, I don't want to mention a country because I know it's happening somewhere. In some African countries, while some believe that it helps to protect the integrity of the female reproductive organs, others believe it is an aberration to cause injuries to females because they want to cut a part of their body. To what extent do you agree with the latter position? In some situations, they won't put an extent. So when they are putting an extent, there are words you must use to show the extent. When they just say, do you agree? You don't need to show an extent. So you should understand some languages that will be used to put your questions to you. When you understand that, it will show in your thesis and in your conclusion. You will be able to say, from the points I've made, I'm sure that I can say that I am in complete disagreement with the people that feel female genital mutilation should be whatever they want it to be, or maybe should be readopted into the society. So, but if you don't understand that you should achieve that task, then it's going to be difficult. You must be able to achieve the task. In that one, you have 2 positions already. Those who agree, those who do not agree, your own position, you have 3 places to go. You must achieve your task. And there is grammatical range and accuracy. How grammatically correct are your structures, the words you put down? What's the concordance? How much of agreement does your noun have with your verbs? How well are you able to use tenses, past, present, future, continuous? Are you able to use them correctly? Can you use active and passive tenses? All these things will come together to push up your scores. How well could you punctuate your works? What's your lexical resources strength? How much of vocabularies do you know? Very important. In fact, there is nobody whose vocabulary is very weak that will likely be able to pass IELTS, because all the 4 modules of IELTS require that you possess sound vocabularies. And when I say good vocabularies, you don't necessarily need to be able to speak what Professor Wole Soyinka will speak. And even when you listen to Professor Wole Soyinka at some points, you will know it will come down to the point of whoever is conversing with. If you watch the likes of Chimamanda Adichie, I used to watch that woman. She will speak that layman will be able to understand. You should be able to write whatever you are writing, that anyone who picks it up will read it, they will understand. But still not with baby English. And even the English that the babies around speak, that you ponder, how far. But we bless God because we are the ones spending the money on them, and it's they should do better than us. So you are not to be monotonous. You should be able to tweak your words. And that is what your paraphrasing, your rephrasing is about. That is what adds sauce, values, spice up what you are saying, that you don't now start sounding robotic and you don't start sounding unidirectional, monotonous, and the person who is reading your work or who is listening to your words will be tired. No, you don't want to do it that way. So you want to paraphrase your words, you want to rephrase your words, and that is the essence of our vocabulary drills. If you are happy, we can bring it on, and I'm sure there is nobody that will never enjoy, because people used to enjoy it. Yes, you will first bring the question, you will bring related vocabularies, then you will now make tenses. And that way you are building. Dr. Aguloba will be there, Dr. Dada will be there, everybody will be making contributions. It used to be very, very lovely. First 30 minutes, like between 5:30 and 6, and we are done. And that was it. And to you, if it doesn't matter, it matters. If you go back and watch what I at least released few days ago, she was talking about her illness, that she could not walk for a very long time, and this and this and that. And she said the video she put up, they were things she did like 15 minutes every day. So if we think the vocabulary drill of 30 minutes is nothing, just go and watch what that lady put out in the last 1 or 2 weeks. Honestly, and see how impactful upon lives are videos of just 15 minutes, because those were the things that our health could allow her to do. So we still have ample time with us to do things, please. So you should be able to control your words. And I believe that she said she believed that. In believing that, so I've paraphrase believe in 3 ways. I've used it in the present word, I've used it in the past, I've used it in the continuous one. That is what paraphrasing and vocabulary is all about. Of course, you may need to bring in synonyms. Of course, you may need to bring in words that could be well related. But there are times that if you struggle to find those words, if you can just change the form of the words, you will be very, very good with whatsoever. You have to tell that examiner that you can control English. And that is why, too, in your speaking, you will discover that you will do very well if you have good hold, good grasp, a good grip of your vocabularies. You will do very, very well. And yeah, I feel then when it comes to reading, is one of the biggest that used to push people here and there. Reading especially, you have to possess good speed. Good speed. You need good speed, and it comes by practicing. You have to practice over and over, practice over and over again. If you practice well, you will have good grasp. And you need your vocabularies to help you too. You need your vocabularies. You need your ability to listen and flow with instruction. If you don't go with instruction, reading is going to challenge you. If you don't go with instruction, you will be very much challenged with reading. If you don't practice well and master the skills, by the time Dr. Dada comes up with the skills, you will understand what you need to do when it is yes, no, not given, when it is true, false. And these two, please be careful with them. There's possibility when an answer is yes, no, or true, false. There's possibility of writing one for the other. People do that, and it do challenge people's results. Where they should put true, they put yes. That is wrong. It will be very wrong. So you have to be very, very, very careful that when your answer should be true, false, not given, yes, no, not given, you are not writing the other ones. You have to practice and ensure your mind is at rest that day, that you will not make any mistake. Yes, there will be matching headings in your reading. There could be filling the gaps in your reading. There could be track and trace in your reading. There are loads and loads. There could be supply the heading to particular paragraphs, or you could be asked to fish out the person who said so at so time. Honestly, reading too could be very interesting, and it could sap your time if you go with how interesting a portion is, such that you can miss the time with the other ones. When we are done with your reading, you will not have extra time to write your answer. For listening, you will have like 2 minutes to put your answers together when the audio has finished. Is it 2 minutes? Is it 2 minutes or whatsoever? I can't remember clearly again. I'll bring it on, maybe on the platform. But for reading, the moment they say pens up, you can't go and be adjusting and adjusting anything. Yeah, I think that is about IELTS. I haven't spoken so much of speaking. I'm the one taking speaking module. The uh the theoretical aspect of it. We're going to discuss speaking. You have 3 parts too. You have the part 1, the part 2, the part 3. Part 1 is like day-to-day activities. Do you go to school? Do you work? Where do you store? How did you come here today? Where do you live? Have you given out gifts before? What food do you like to cook? All those things could come on. And then it touches your vocabularies too. Yeah, I love preparing so. Instead of saying I love cooking rice, I love preparing rice for my afternoon meals. And I learned my culinary skills from my mother. She was such a brilliant cook. You see, I've used so much vocabularies about cooking, preparing foods, culinary skills, whatsoever again that I put there. She loved to cook. She was a brilliant cook. All those things are languages dealing with food and food preparations. Those are the things that your vocabularies mean. They are not necessarily coming up with big English like our Patrick Obaya Agbon of Edo State, that Baba minister of that time, or Baba of the house of that particular point in time. You don't necessarily need their English. You don't need such English like that. Even your examiner may not really understand you. And when you are doing your speaking, make it a brilliant discussion. Make it a discussion that when you are done, your examiner wants you to stay back and speak more. And it will all come in by practice. If you practice very well, it will not be difficult for you to flow with your examiner. Make it a relaxed conversational time. Pull it like you are just doing big man interview, not with arrogance, but with confidence. Go there with confidence. Go there with your confidence. Hold your vocabularies on your right and on your left hand. Let them be there. Hold your consciousness such that if things are about going wrong, you will quickly grasp it. Go with God leading you. In my day, I used to tell this story every time I take speaking training. I just managed to, for whatever reason, had the chance to see my score, and I was seeing 6.5, 5.5, no 7. And something told me that that person was writing my score. That was when I woke up and I pushed my vocabularies up. That's why I used to be very, very particular about, whatsoever it is that had taunted you at some point, you don't want it to torture any other person. I'm very, very particular about vocabularies when it comes to IELTS. because I found out that it's not about speaking big English, it's about having the right English to say. And you are not expected to be searching for your words. You should be fluent. You don't have to shout, and you don't have to be fast. You can pick your words. And that was what happened to one of my boys. He used to pick his words like he's a slow speaker, and I was warning. I would say, every module you are going for, I'm very comfortable, but this you're speaking, I don't know. This, and he went and came back with 8.5 in speaking. And in this particular academy too, I used to say it because the person was even very happy to give us a letter then, someone who was a stammer. And she would describe herself that if someone asks of her, tell that person, so person who stammers. That was the way she used to describe herself. She had man in speaking. It was just one episode of exercise with Dr. Agbile Oba after the theoretical class, and she went and came back with solid band 9. So yeah, and those of us girl who do not have any voice impediments, we sometimes don't score that much. Some people even go to band 6, 6.55, like that. And we do say, of course, Dr. Aguilar does not like this, but I do encourage people that if you have voice impediments, if you stutter, if you stammer, then when you get to your examination hall, let your examiner know this. Because some people will not know, they will just think you are just displaying some mannerism. Let them know, oh, please, I have some voice impediment, and that when I want to say something, sometimes it could take some times for me to finish that. Let them know, so that they will not start thinking and getting unnecessarily, and it's not like the Yoruba people that will understand with you. We have that, some people are being led by that spirit of anger back in Nigeria because everywhere is hot. But here, people, if they're angry, they will not tell you that they're angry. They will not even show it on their faces that they're angry. Or maybe they've been professionally trained to be that calm too, like that. So let them know such that they won't take you for someone who wasn't serious. Then flow. When it comes to the time, flow. Your part 1 is about 3 or 4 questions, short questions. But ensure you don't answer your answer. Don't bring in your answers as yes and no. No. Ensure your answers are coming in sentences and you join them together very well. You should be able to use good linkers, pronounce very well. These are the things they would assess. 25, 25, 25 of each to pronunciation, lexical resources, and your grammatical range and accuracies. They would assess that. And which is the 4th one? I will remember that one and let you know. So they will assess all those things. Your pronunciation will be assessed. So watch out. If there are things you've not been pronouncing well, this is time for you to bring your phone out, type those words, put audio so that they can speak the words for you and you repeat after them, and then you will be very fine. I think it will be a safe place to draw the curtain tonight. And I want to use this time to appreciate everyone who's been very patient. Was not friendly to me. And I believe there are people picked some things. Please, if you got 1 or 2 things, can you just put it on the page? Let's see that you got 1 or 2 things, and then yeah, we'll be fine. If you have questions, ask me. Fine, so that I can add you to the page. If you have questions, if you don't want to type, you can let me know so that we just be onto the stage. Questions, 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 questions. Questions, questions. In the absence of any question, then we can then call it a Wednesday. God bless you all. See you in the class. When you get to the class, let me know if you're happy for us to have vocabulary drills the time you prefer. Is it early in the morning? Is it late in the evening? So we can then adjust. Then kindly expect our calendar. I mean, what do I call it now? Timetable. By the time all the class tutors have come on board to introduce themselves to you, then you should be able to have the timetable from us. Once the timetable is out, then we roll everything big. Next time you are seeing me, or next time you will be seeing me, then I'll be coming as your speaking tutor. So that time we'll be able to bring in everything together that about speaking. Then, when I'm done with the theoretical aspect of speaking, I will hand you over to Dr. Agbilioba, who will take you to the laboratory and assess your speaking, correct what needs to be corrected. Then, when it says you are good to go to the examination with us, then you are very, very good. Yes, that's very, yes. Paraphrasing is not about synonyms alone. There are words that you can't even get their synonyms. So paraphrasing is not about synonyms. And if you know how to use academic languages, they push up your scores. They push up your scores. It will make your examiner like you. It will make the person marking your script love what you are doing. Financial institution, those are words that they call academic words. Like they are beautiful words that you can bring together and they strengthen your writing or your speaking. So, yeah, pleasure having me. When is tomorrow I'll be in class again tomorrow. Tomorrow is Friday. I'll be in class again tomorrow. Let me see. I will communicate with us on the WhatsApp platform. Why? I don't know how people will get to that WhatsApp platform because if people are not coming on that WhatsApp, anyway, if I'm in the house, my next class, I will make sure that the kiddies are somewhere so that I don't need to come out. If I'm in my house, I won't have problem with the StreamYard at all. If I'm within the house, it won't stress me. It's because I'm a bit away from the house that makes it a bit there. It won't be the same link. I'll bring up another link tomorrow that we can use. If I'm convinced that StreamYard will be fine, we'll use it. If it won't be fine, we will not use it. But I'm trying to use it so that we can have the recordings. Otherwise, it becomes difficult for me to record things when they are not on this platform. So that's why I'm bringing it so that people who are not here will be able to get it, and people who are here already but still want to listen to some portions again can just click through, fast forward or whatsoever, and then listen to what listen. So that's fine, ma. So we come back tomorrow. I'll stay indoors by God's grace. God bless you. Thank you very much. Bye. 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 On success. God bless you all.